Blake Lively, guys. The reason why we want to talk about it is because you and I had a nice chat about this. Remember, Pat?
That last year fired Justin Baldoni after in his lawsuit it was alleged that Ryan Reynolds pressured the company to drop him.
So many text messages and things in it. Blake Lively's did as well, not quite as long.
Lively's team has now responded to Justin Baldoni's team responding to the subpoena.
Blake Lively's legal battle with Justin Baldoni has officially turned into a full-blown PR war. What started as a legal dispute has now evolved into a desperate attempt by Lively's team to control the narrative, but their latest move may have just backfired spectacularly. Reports are now circulating that Blake Lively's team has allegedly planted a fake report in an effort to smear Justin Baldoni, shifting public perception in her favor. This calculated strategy appears to be an attempt to undermine Baldoni's credibility, but instead, it's raising even more questions about how far Lively is willing to go to win this case.
Some important text messages, and here they are over here. That later in the same conversation, the PR specialist said, "Damn, this is unfair because it is also not me. Everything now looks like it's me. Maybe not to you." And then the person who is the regular PR person for Baldoni says, "No, it totally does look like his side." So what the Baldoni side is saying is, you left out certain text messages, Blake Lively, and by doing that, you made it look like we were saying, that's why you hired me.
With new text messages proving defamation, legal experts questioning Lively's approach, and growing concerns over the legitimacy of her PR tactics, it's becoming clear that Blake Lively and her team are running out of options. In a shocking twist, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds have now demanded additional receipts against Justin Baldoni, allegedly to strengthen their case. If Blake's case is so strong, why would she need more receipts? This move suggests that her team is struggling to build a solid argument and is instead grasping at straws to shift the blame.
We demand to really scroll through and see all of Blake's messages to Ryan to see if they were in cahoots to destroy Justin. Is there a version where that could happen due to what Blake did?
My best guess, and I don't have facts to know this for certain. My best guess is that Jones took the phone of the people if they worked for her, arguing that was a worked phone and work property. So if she was paying for the phone service, if she paid for the phone, if it was predominantly used for work and she got it, that's probably legitimate employer action to go ahead and get that phone. Although it's arguable if she had resisted and said, "No, screw you, I'm not going to get my phone," that would be a long court fight. And maybe she would get it and maybe she wouldn't, or maybe she would get part of it and maybe she wouldn't, but she didn't do that. She turned it over. I don't think that evidence is going to get excluded on that basis, but going back to your original point about this sort of, how's this shaping up? Those things are going to be embarrassing.
The text to be between Blake and Taylor, if they are talking crap about Justin, that could be admissible?
100%. And those are the communications where I think you're going to see Friedman go for the jugular, because those are not embarrassing only to Live. They're going to be embarrassing to other people who care about their reputation. And I think that's where you're going to see some leaks that are going to come out of this discovery process that are going to be mind-blowing, because those texts are going to start to come to the fore.
That's interesting, because they talked about trying to make sure there was protection to all the celebrities involved at the last hearing. Can they put that in place? Can they say, listen, Taylor Swift isn't involved and her text should be excluded? Or is that kind of impossible since she's now a public figure? And if she's involved, can that stuff leak?
It's basically impossible to protect Taylor Swift, because now she's part of the allegations of the complaint.
Blake Lively isn't the only one facing a major PR disaster, but right now, her case is drawing the most attention, with new details emerging about how her team is allegedly trying to manipulate the media. Public trust is quickly eroding. Could this be the final straw that destroys Lively's credibility for good?
Blake Lively, guys. The reason why we want to talk about it is because you and I had a nice chat about this. Remember, Pat? Because right now, apparently, there was a judge that I'm pretty sure that everybody here in the chat knows about this case, right, guys? Right? But I believe Blake Lively is just as bad, if not worse, than Meghan Markle. Or they're both the same level, because I believe Blake Lively is a big fat liar and she's the one who created everything. What do you think?
Yes, I personally believe something went amiss on set where she started falling for this guy, Justin. And when he did not advance her...
It's now being reported that Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' agent is allegedly gloating about firing Justin Baldoni, further fueling speculation that this entire situation is being carefully orchestrated. If this is a deliberate attempt to isolate Baldoni, then it suggests that Lively's team is doing everything in their power to ensure he loses this battle. But will it work? Or will this just expose Lively's team's desperation even more?
That last year fired Justin Baldoni after, in his lawsuit, it was alleged that Ryan Reynolds pressured the company to drop him. And just now, the head honcho at William Morris Endeavor is gloating about getting rid of Justin Baldoni. And not only that, mocking him along the way. Ari Emanuel was a guest on a podcast, and he said, I mean, it's an effed up bad situation what Baldoni, whatever his name is doing. What a petty man. I'm the one with the nicknames, okay? You should be a respectable professional. He said, I know Blake. I know Ryan. They're good people. No, I don't think so. I really don't think so. It's clear also that Ari Emanuel did not see the former assistant director on her movie A Simple Favor alleging bullying. And happy that karma finally found its way to Blake Lively. It's clear that Ari Emanuel, who said in this chat that he's only known Blake Lively for a decade, isn't aware of the interview from 2009 where Penn Badgley's ex-girlfriend said on the record to Glamour magazine that she poisoned the minds of her Gossip Girl co-stars against Blake Lively.
Baldoni's legal team has released new text messages that they claim prove Blake Lively engaged in defamation. If these texts are as damaging as they appear to be, then it could mean serious consequences for Lively's legal defense. Will this be the moment Baldoni gains the upper hand?
It is so detailed, has so many text messages and things in it. Blake Lively's did as well, not quite as long, but still they're huge. So we can't just cover everything in one night. I'm breaking it down into little bits so I can explain it and we can talk about what it means. So I want to start by talking just for a second about what is defamation, because that's what Justin Baldoni says Blake Lively did. Blake Lively and all the other people being sued. So Blake, according to what Justin Baldoni is accusing her of, he's saying that she made false statements to the New York Times and others, that she knew these were false statements, and that she was, or at least that she had some serious doubt.
Despite her aggressive legal strategy, Blake Lively has now lost another court battle. Her attempts to control the case from behind the scenes are clearly failing, and with more losses piling up, the situation is looking worse for her by the day. How many more legal setbacks can she afford before everything collapses?
When it comes to Blake Lively and Baldoni and Colleen Hoover, let's start with Colleen Hoover. So she's back on Instagram. Guess who's back again. Colleen's back. And so Colleen Hoover has rejoined Instagram, but she made sure to remove all of her photos with Blake Lively, with fake Lively, Snake Lively. What do we call it? We need to decide. We need to make a decision on what are we calling her, fake Lively or Snake Lively? We know he's Crying Ryan Reynolds. That's fine. Crying Ryan. I'm cool with Crying Ryan. But why can't I see Colleen on IG? Oh, did she block you, Lainey? Maybe she blocked you. She probably blocked me. Let's see.
With tensions rising, Lively has now responded to Baldoni's subpoena objections, while also facing the possibility of HR complaints. This legal battle is no longer just about reputation, it's now about corporate ethics and legal accountability. Will Lively's team be able to navigate this growing mess, or is this the beginning of the end?
Sarcastic, funny, charming Canadian man. And that's Blake Lively. She is basically, to all intents and purposes, Serena van der Woodsen, but less scandalous. Or her brand always was. Like that, less scandalous. She still has the aura of it girl around her, even though when you look at her actual career, it's not A-lister impressive, in my opinion. She's an A-list Hollywood star without the A-list Hollywood projects, particularly recent projects, to kind of back that up. But that's partly because of how iconic and powerful Gossip Girl was and her character Serena van der Woodsen was. It was huge. So, what's the situation? Why has the it girl, fashionista, fun, I'm married to Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift and Gigi Hadid and my besties, her Givenchy sparkle boots? You know, the kind of sparkle boots that only an A-list actress could be able to afford? And her normal girl character she's playing, no, the Givenchy sparkle boots are a key part of the film and they're bling.
Even media powerhouses like Megyn Kelly are now questioning whether Blake Lively's career can survive this legal scandal. With her public image completely shattered, will Lively be able to rebuild her reputation, or is this a permanent stain on her legacy?
Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni were the stars of the film, and Baldoni directed it. They didn't get along. Apparently, rumors of a feud began during their promotional tour in August 2024. There was speculation that Blake Lively had actually brought in her husband, Ryan Reynolds, to help take over creative control of the film, and Baldoni wasn't showing up at press events. And then Baldoni hired Johnny Depp's crisis management and PR professional, a person named Melissa Nathan, to represent him. Lively herself was doing some kind of strange things during her press tour. She was criticized for her tone-deaf approach to the movie, which is supposedly a fairly serious movie about abuse and all the rest. Here, for example, she was doing a strange interview.
But for people who see this movie, who relate to the topics of this movie on a deeply personal level.
One of the biggest concerns for Lively right now is that her PR crisis is spiraling out of control. If she continues to lose credibility, it could cost her movie deals, brand endorsements, and even major legal fees. Could Blake Lively end up paying the ultimate price for this scandal?
It's just as important to say, okay, I believe in this, and that's why I'm standing up for it, and that's why I'm not being difficult. And then there are other moments to go like, am I the asshole in the room? Like, what is happening here? I would show up on a set. I knew that they just wanted me to show up and look cute and stand on a little pink sticker where I'm supposed to go and say what I'm supposed to say. But I also knew that like that wasn't fulfilling for me, that I wanted to be a part of the storytelling, that I wanted to be a part of the narrative, whether that be in the writing, in the costume design, in creating the character. And sometimes I had directors or producers or writers who would welcome that and invite that once they saw that I was able to offer that. And sometimes I would have people who really resented that because they were like, we just hired you to be an actor. Yet when I went in the meetings, I would just seem like I'm just there to be the actor and ready to get the gig. I wouldn't reveal that I actually need to have authorship in order to feel fulfilled. So I think that for them, sometimes that might have felt like a rug pull because you're like, you're trying to assert yourself into something that we didn't hire you to do.
More and more industry insiders are beginning to recognize that Blake Lively's case is falling apart. With key players distancing themselves, multiple losses in court, and growing skepticism about her claims, it's becoming evident that she's in deeper trouble than anyone anticipated. Will she be able to pull off a last-minute legal win, or is this truly the beginning of the end?
These are supposed to be investigative journalists. When do you see them at 9:47 at night send an email on a Friday night before a holiday, right before Christmas? They send the email and it warns them that we're coming out with a story that we're going to publish by 12 noon Eastern the next day. So you basically right there have 14 hours to respond to this. If you're not looking at your email at 9:47 at night Eastern time, you might even pass that up until the morning, right? They say that they've reviewed thousands of pages of text messages. Unbelievable. And if they did, they would have come across the text messages that had emojis removed, that skewed the meaning of various emails, other emails which were taken out of context,
In what some are calling a shocking attempt at distraction, there are now rumors that Lively is desperately trying to land the role of Britney Spears in an upcoming biopic. Could this be her way of shifting attention away from the lawsuit, or is this a genuine career move? Either way, it's clear that Lively's current reputation may make it harder than ever to land high-profile roles.
I mean, when do you see the New York Times, a publication, these are supposed to be investigative journalists, when do you see them at 9:47 at night send an email on a Friday night before a holiday, right before Christmas? They send the email and it warns them that we're coming out with a story that we're going to publish by 12 noon Eastern the next day. So you basically right there have 14 hours to respond to this. If you're not looking at your email at 9:47 at night Eastern time, you might even pass that up until the morning, right? They say that they've reviewed thousands of pages of text messages. Unbelievable. And if they did, they would have come across the text messages. We live in a digital age. You can't trust everything that you see. Why couldn't the New York Times ask that question? I'm blaming the New York Times for participating with Blake Lively's publicists and engaging in this campaign where they actually were part of facilitating the complaint getting filed with the CRD, which is the Civil Rights Division, and knew the complaint was getting filed, encouraged them to file the complaint, had a copy of the complaint before it was filed, and once it was filed, they went with the story. Not at all. We did respond, and we challenged actually the veracity of the story, and we challenged actually the veracity of the text messages, and specifically said that those messages were cherry-picked.
Blake Lively is quickly running out of options. With new reports suggesting her team is actively fabricating information, defamation claims piling up, and legal losses stacking against her, it's obvious that this case is becoming more of a disaster than anyone anticipated.
Not a single photo with Blake Lively or Justin Baldoni. Interesting. And then she has her Watch What Happens Live photos of when she was on Watch What Happens Live with Emily Simpson. Do you think Colleen Hoover made that production company because she thought that she would get the rights back to It Ends With Us to make a movie with Blake? No. So there are a lot of these theories, right? So that's one of them, Rose is Wild. I don't think that she intentionally, Colleen Hoover, made her new production company in any relation to the drama or fallout of It Ends With Us. I think she saw that her books were becoming really popular, and so to protect herself and to put more money in her pocket rather than to sell the rights to somebody else, I think that that's why she created.
Instead of focusing on clearing her name, Lively's team appears to be scrambling for last-minute damage control, but every new move they make only seems to backfire. The evidence against her is mounting, and even legal experts are now questioning how she will escape this mess unscathed. Will she continue to fight, or will she finally admit defeat before it's too late?